10 times stronger.
It's made that rocket power.
So it's all custom made. Happy with that, Chris?
I am absolutely over the moon.
Right, hello, welcome back to the channel. Back down at MTS Motorsport, and we are working on Chris's RS 1600i race car. They've got a nice Series 1 race car down here. It's going to actually be for sale soon. If anyone on the channel is interested, give them a shout. So here she is, the race engine, and Chris.
Yes.
Back from HT's.
Yes, Steve at Vulcan, dynoed. He's upgrading his engine dyno, and he gets fussy issues with it. So he's upgraded it. So my engine was the last one to do. So it's been running. He's mapped it as best he can with
what he's got.
But
we're going back on the rolling road when it's all got the gearbox in it.
Yeah, because he said it.
We'll get some power figures. All we can do at the moment is just say it's all top secret with the power figures because we haven't got any power figures. No. But it's all built. It's all together. We got the Simpson race manifold and full exhaust on it. Which again we'll pop down to Matt at Simpson's and have a closer look at their setup. Yeah, that's a work of art to be fair.
Beautiful.
And that's all equal length primaries.
Yeah.
4 into 2 into 1, all specific bore sizes and lengths. As
3-inch exhaust.
Is that spec'd by SPD?
SPD, yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got the Gucci rocker cover, which I told him to buy, and then he went straight out and bought it. Which I think,
by you, Mike.
Yeah. Anytime. Treat yourself. And then you get the big tapered throttle bodies, which these came off your old engine today.
Yeah, they did.
But you had to buy a new base
plate.
Mate, it looks wicked. Can we whip this off and have a look down the trumpets? Twin oil coolers, one for the engine, one for the gearbox, which is obviously our Sadev gearbox, which we mounted in a previous video. But yeah, look at that. I never realised that the fuel rail was actually underneath it.
Yeah, and injectors. I asked Steve at SPD that, and he says they atomise better.
Oh, what if you squirt the fuel up like that?
Yeah, something will happen with me, don't they?
Yeah, and he blanked off the original.
Yeah, it's all
going in. You got your drive shafts made up. Who made your drive shafts?
So Davey Mack, it'd be a good shout out actually. Davey Mack done my drive shafts. Top service they were.
Yeah.
The only downside of it is the designer now is retiring. So, but he might do the odd one or two. The reason I went through Davey Mack, not at Sedeve, because we had a little bit of a tug and throw about the drive shaft spline diameters. They wanted to put a minimum of 25 on the outer.
Yeah, which would mean you've got to then change all your hubs
and everything. And not the amount of money I've blown on this already. I asked them to do a 23 spline.
Yeah.
But keep the original on one side, which is 30 spline, and they refused to. So I said, fine, I cancelled the order on that, and I went to Davey Mack, and he sorted me completely right out.
And you did say that it would be on your head.
It would, yeah, absolutely. I said it would be on my head. The advantage for us is that we don't do. If I was doing static starts,
drag racing, launches.
Not that, I get that, but I'm doing,
on the grid. You're talking,
but I'm doing rolling starts. But realistically, I would probably take the shafts out every other meet and repack it with the this grease I use.
That stuff.
This stuff. This tube cost me £100.
Where'd you get it from? Some dodgy guy down the market.
Yeah, well actually Nigel Hutton supplied that for me.
Yeah?
He said, but it's Neo grease, apparently F1 boys use it. A lot of the guys that I know around Pal, like Ashley Shellsworth, I've seen use it.
So you repack your CVs with that stuff?
Yeah, but then sometimes it goes splattered everywhere, so...
That's £100.
£100, I know, so I've got half a tube left, there's 50 quid still left there.
Alright. So tonight, I want to remake this side, this engine mount. I've got all the bits cut somewhere. There's some extra gussets I want to add to that engine mount, and we need to try and have a look at the stabiliser bar underneath the engine, because this is pretty close to firing up, so we need to obviously tie it all down before we start firing it up and running it up. So yeah, that's the main aim. We're also just sorting out some of the hoses. Got a little radiator off to one side, I think it's from a Civic, so hopefully that's big enough to cool the engine. Time will tell. And as I said, yeah, got a Moco coolers for the engine and gearbox, so that'll help take some of the heat out of the engine as well. Dry sump pump, and the dry sump's all on. Try to think, well, so yeah, new drive shafts.
The alternator.
You've got a tiny
baby alternate with the brackets.
Mate, it looks wicked. So this is what we had before. So it's just a one plate with two uprights just lobbed in and welded on. Not the prettiest of things. This is my version 2. So we've got a folded bit that goes round the inner wing. We've got 2 more points that we can pick up on going through the inner wing. And then I've got nicer laser cut uprights. We've tied it across the top, and then I'm also going to weld that on the back, and then on the back, and then cut it to shape. So we've got some gussets running front and back for a bit of added strength. I think it's going to be 10 times stronger than version 1. Is the plan. So, yeah, it's hot, sweaty. Let's just blob it in. So Mike's over-engineered bracket compared to
Chris's bodge, if I say.
Well, that probably would have worked, but
no,
I'm pretty sure this is gonna.
I reckon if I know how I drive, that's gonna fold.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, I got to crisp-proof this, to be fair. Right, so we can wang this in, and then mark it, drill the holes, and then spray it black, put it in final time. Mate, that rocket so up.
I know, man.
It's just, looking at this just makes me want a big Atmo Duratec in the Fiesta with trumpets hanging out the front.
It's not a million miles, is it?
No. It's got to come over. There you go, that's better. So also on the gearbox side, I've had these bits laser cut. So the plan was to reinforce this bolt-on bracket. Got some little gussets, another gusset. Weld that on underneath, kind of on the tab. If you can see that, and one front and back down there, and I've also cut this with a hole in to access the bolt, so we can weld that on to tie the 2 uprights together. Then I've also got this back plate that I really want to weld onto there, and then to cut the triangles off the top, another gusset, and again just ties the back up and all along that long edge. Should add a lot more strength onto that side as well. As I said, just crisp proofing it for when he starts giving it the Billy Big Spuds. Yeah, it's not me. I'll have to speed this bit up.
Go straight and dry, don't you? Of course it's. There we go. Clicking on gas.
Happy with that, Chris?
I am absolutely over the moon.
That took a lot longer than I thought it would. Always does.
Always does, doesn't it?
Just wait for the old man to fiddle with his pipes.
So what's that? That's the oil return, oil feed.
Oil return.
Oil return. So we got our oil temperature mounted on it. Yeah.
Will that turn? What does that do? Just show up on the.
Shows the oil temperature.
You're not putting like a fan or anything on it.
No.
Okay. So I can't remember in the last video. I can't remember. Did you had the exhaust on the system, but you didn't have the manifold?
We just had.
So it's all custom made, big back box.
We ain't too sure if it's going to be too loud because when it's. I know when Steve with Vulcan, I'm just saying, when I've collected the engine, he said to me, I nearly went home. He said, because that engine's horrendous. He said it sounded like a BDA.
Was that induction noise or was that
exhaust?
Oh, really?
Well, both. He said it blew their exhaust extractor off the top of the ceiling.
Wow.
And he said it's.
But you could always put a bigger can in here.
Well, Simpson said, didn't he? He said something we could put in something like that, but he said that's the biggest box they said, and he reckons it'd be fine. But
all right.
I won't know until I started.
Yeah, it's nice. I like these big brackets. He always mounts them on the cotton wheels.
Yeah.
Fucker. So what size is this all the way? It's
3 inch.
3 inch. So you did have 2 1/2.
2 3/4, isn't it? 2.5.
Yeah, man. And it's all V-banded. Nice collectors. Springs on. Yeah, his stuff's really nice.
They're those shafts from Baby Mac. Prop shafts. Tailor the Sedif shafts.
Right. Shall we try and engineer something onto here as a dog bone steady bar?
Yes.
Is the next thing on the list of things to
What
do.
do we do?
Well, we've cut that. So does that line up with the 3 holes?
Yes, it does.
Let's try getting some bolts in that and just see where we're at.
Let's do it. Alright.
So the plan is under here, cut this plate with 3 holes that hopefully line up with the 3 holes on the bottom of the gearbox, weighing the bolts in. Right, so I've just hand cut these little D-shaped brackets, and that's our bush from... Where'd you get the bushes from again? Were they Powerflex ones? The Powerflex, with a little collar. That is going to go on the underside of the car with our link bar forward and the rose joint onto the brackets on the bottom of the gearbox. Here's the plan. Action.
What's that we need?